Hi, I'm Amber.
Hi, I'm Charlotte.
Hi, I'm Corinne.
Hiya, I'm Danielle.
Hi, I'm Kelly. And together we are UnfiltHERed, where the her is no longer silent.
UnfiltHERed is the coming together of 5 neurodivergent women, and together we will be discussing all things neurodiversity: autism, ADHD, parenting, being parent carers, inclusion, and how these are led by our experiences of womanhood.
All voices are welcome here, and we do not discriminate. Our goal is to create a real, inclusive, safe space and community for everyone to be their unfiltered self.
This space is all about community and not competition, empowering others through their differences and removing stigma.
Whether you are here for yourself or a loved one, you are welcome here. So come and join us in this unfiltered conversation.
About, you know, good things and bad things and being kind and being unkind. And I'm quite firm with him to a certain degree. And, you know, we do a lot of stuff naturally. Like when I go through... As a mum, naturally how I parent, not because I'm the best parent in the world. I'm sure there's a lot of things I do wrong. There's a lot of times I probably fuck up, and not even probably, I know I fuck up. But, you know, in the same breath, I just feel like generally, and I'm not just pinpointing our situation, but I think generally there's a lot of judgment on parents to be a certain way. And I don't think we can do wrong or right. And I think the problem we have now is, on top of the general school judgment that you go on social media and then there's a whole nother level of judgment. And this is why I don't talk about my parenting journey as such on Instagram. I haven't posted in weeks on Instagram because I just don't have the fucking bandwidth for it at the minute. And also I just feel like there's a lot of judgment. I feel like you can't talk about things without judgment. And you know, and then it's like you've got one lot of people that are like, I'm a gentle parent and this is how I do this and this is how I do that. I think gentle parenting's great when it's done properly.
I don't.
No, but there's gentle parenting. This is a whole other episode. We could probably record a fucking extra episode.
I don't.
Yeah,
I
we're good.
Gentle parenting isn't pessimistic parenting. Those are two different things.
Okay.
And the problem with gentle parenting is that a lot of people are getting confused. And I think that gentle parenting is actually pessimistic parenting. Gentle parenting is actually quite authoritarian.
Yeah. A lot of parents of ADHD kids are naturally gentle parenters because we have to be.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
What's the difference? So for me and those listening, what is the difference between the two?
Gentle parenting as such is an approach, and this is just me off the top of my head, I haven't got anything in front of me, is an approach where you meet the child where they're at developmentally and you're kind of guiding them through the world, and you're not just kind of shutting them down and going, no, you can't do that because I said. You lose that side of it. So say, I don't know, like it's a lot of it's about giving choices, but you are also giving very firm boundaries. If I give my son a choice, he has those choices.
That's it.
Because you're not getting it. So if I say to him, right, you want to have a snack, you can have an orange or a banana or nothing. So you choose the orange or the banana, or you get nothing. Whereas other people who are more maybe for, I can't fucking pronounce it, the other one, the strict one, might say,
like, this is what you're having.
Yeah, you're not having it, or you have to eat the banana, and a banana's your only option, even though there's actually oranges and apples there, and they could do any of those things.
Or even the having nothing is also an option.
The having nothing is an option. So there was a situation the other day that someone was talking about on Instagram. I can't put the guy's name now. He's a really good gentle parenting account. I think his name's like Mr. Chaz or something. And he's an American guy, and he breaks it down really, really well. And he talks about how when you're parenting from like an executive state, which is where you learn and you can think logically. And then you have like the survival state, which is where you end up screaming and shouting because you're stressed and the kid's stressed and none of you can think straight. And there was a situation where a teacher had gone out in the morning. Now, this is an American thing because this would not happen in the UK. A teacher had gone out in the morning and bought donuts for her class. And I'm like, why are you giving kids donuts first?
That is an American thing.
I'm like, why is anyone giving you a donut first thing in the morning?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm pretty liberal with sugar, and I, you know, within reason, have what you want. If he wants a nice lolly at 8 in the morning, fine. But generally, on the whole, I'm very like, no, you have breakfast first. You have your breakfast first. If you want an ice latte after that, fine. But that's just me. He doesn't have ARFID. He hasn't got any kind of eating issues. When you're talking about kids that have ARFID, obviously it's a completely different ball game. So
that's what I was going to say. I'm very strict with what my kids eat, and not
But
very
you
strict. I'm kind of in the middle.
because
Yeah,
your
because
children
yeah. It's like I have very strong views about parents who let their kids just eat junk food, let their kids eat excess sugar, let them basically just do what they want. But that is totally different to a child who has ARFID. That is
or
a
an
very
eating disorder.
condition. It's a
See,
very
Tommy
different
doesn't have
situation.
ARFID, but where he's so limited, I have to just let him eat what he because he will literally, it will either be a crumpet, a banana, or Pringles, and it's that. But that's all he snacks on all day. So it's hard, isn't it? It's
like Chase used to not eat anything. Like literally, he would only eat a few beige items. Jacob's crackers, no cheese, no nothing, no butter, no, just the dry cracker. Chips. We went to America and he literally wouldn't eat anything because before we went, he loved bacon, but their bacon over there is like really processed.
really different, isn't it?
It's like a dog chew. But basically, when we got there, we panicked because he wouldn't eat anything. And he was under a dietitian at the time, and it was if I'd known more about ARFID back then, I probably would have assumed that he did have ARFID. But I then started to actively find ways to introduce food, and there are times when I'm really strict with him and I will make him sit and eat a roast dinner and eat vegetables, but I also make allowances for him because I know that he will eat his vegetables, and as time's gone on, his palate has grown. I mean, this evening he had lamb curry and chicken wings and salad and stuff for dinner because I have been persistent and being too soft. I haven't been a yes mum to him. I've kind of met him in the middle, whereas I'm understanding of his needs, but I'm expected to try. So like, I don't like certain food.
Parent, you just don't know you are.
Yeah, I think I am maybe slightly on the cusp, but like
there's a
I
term,
wouldn't
like
force
a
him to
spicy
eat jollof rice.
You're a gentle parent, but you will lose your shit. Like
basically, or I don't take no shit.
No,
so like I make allowances in a way that I know that there's foods groups that he'll eat, but he has preferences, or I'll dish up his food in a certain way. I know that some people don't like certain foods as well. There's things I don't like, so I'm not going to make him eat everything, but I expect him to have a balanced diet. So he'll eat fish, but he likes salmon. He won't eat other fishes, or he don't like certain textures, and all of that kind of stuff. I'm very particular to a degree. Does that make sense? So like, yes, I expect you to eat some of your vegetables. I'm not going to pile it on your plate. I understand that you may not like certain texture of certain chicken, so I'll give you breast instead of the leg. I'll make you salmon instead of the sea bass. But you're going to eat. You're not going to just not try. Does that make sense? And then I will encourage him to try, but not to the point where I'm like traumatizing him or anything. But we'll reason with him and give him reasons, or we'll find ways for him
and you'll
to
explain
try.
to him why, especially if you work with
why.
him where he is developing.
And he trusts me. So if I say to him, Chase, look, I think that you actually will like this, and I'm like, don't try and taste it with your eyes. Don't look at it and try and figure out, just try it. And he has managed to come such a long way. He eats a really good selection of meat now, whereas he wouldn't touch protein at all before. He eats a selection of vegetables and fruits and cheese and all of the food groups that we've built up over time. Whereas if I hadn't have done that, he would, because I'm not being funny, what child is not going to want to live on junk food and sweets and snacks? They all want to. Do you know what I mean? So I try to find a way where I'm understanding of his needs, but at the same time trying to be his parent as well.
That is gentle parenting though, isn't it?
Taking into account. But no, I've been like that since he was younger. Since he was because I don't know, I feel like desensitizing a child in a way that's not obviously not going to cause him any distress can be done in a gentle way. And Chase has turned around to me and he said, Mum, thank you so much. I'm glad that you don't let me get away with things, or that you explain things to me, because now I'm happier. I have learned to try things, and you've helped take away that fear. And now I can do these things. And he's proud of himself because he can see how far he's come. But I also understand, obviously, that all kids are different as well. So I know, for example, there are children who have conditions like ARFID or who are more picky eaters than my children. But I think that if that's not the case, I do think it's important to set boundaries for your kids when it comes to certain things, because it will be better for them in the long run. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's coming from someone whose child literally wouldn't eat anything. We went to America, he wouldn't eat anything other than bread. That was it.
Yeah. See, with Rhodes, the way we do it with him is we've always offered him like his safe food. So what I find he does, he'll eat certain things on rotation. So he'll go through a phase of only wanting like mash and gravy, or he'll only want at the minute it's fish fingers. And I'm like, you know what, fish fingers ain't the worst thing a kid can eat. So lots of omega-3. So he'll eat like fish fingers. And then what I'll try and do is I'll rotate the veg. So like the other day he had runner beans for the first time in a really long time. And he actually sat and ate them, and I was like, oh, okay. And so he's got his safe food. So I know he'll eat the fish fingers. I know he'll eat the potato or the chips or the mash or whatever. But the veg might be, don't know. You know, it might be one that he eats, it might be one he doesn't eat. Like he'll go through phases of like literally wanting to eat loads and loads of peas, and then he won't touch them. And it's just, I think it's almost like a hyperfixation thing with him. He'll hyperfixate on certain foods, and then we've all done it. We've all had a hyperfixation food, and one day you look at it and you're like, bleh. And he does. So I think because I know what he's like, I don't put pressure on him, and I always offer him a safe food, and I give him those options. But we also let him try, and we really praise him for it. So like the other day I put salad on his plate. So he had like the fish fingers, he had the chips, and I was like, I'm just gonna do like salad. So I done like lettuce and a little bit of cucumber, a little bit of tomato. And he looked at it, he went, oh, I've got salad. I was like, just try it. And he knows like I would never like, and I think
there's
this is
no pressure there.
There's no pressure. I'm like, well, mummy's having her salad, and that's normally the best way I do it. Like if I want him to try something, I'll be like, mummy likes salads, and mummy's gonna have some salad, and he's like, no, it's my salad. And then like he went for a phase of really liking celery, because like I was sitting there eating celery, like dipping it, and he's like, what's that? And I was like, celery, try some. And I was gonna try it, and he's like,
because you're not putting no pressure on it, and even just putting the salad there every time, it kind of takes away, like rather than putting,
what's that?
Oh no, they don't like salad, just putting it there, because one day they might not like salad, but another day they might, or they might enjoy things one day and not another.
I literally lived on nuggets and chips and sausages and chips and plain sugar puffs, so no milk, dry sugar puffs. The thought of a sugar puff now makes me feel sick. And the only thing I would eat occasionally was banana, like very, very occasionally, and Wotsits. So I'd eat like crisps and chocolate and stuff. And I lived like that until I was 8. And now I eat everything. And it was and my mum did the same thing with me. Like she would give me my nuggets and chips, and then whatever they were all having, she would dish it up. So say she was doing like a chili or something, or bolognese, she would do me like the tiniest little bowl next to it. And eventually
it's not restricting you. It's not restricting you. Me. Yeah.
So I would have my nuggets and chips, so I would be fed, and I'm a big believer in fed is best, and that goes all ages. And I would kind of look at it, and then eventually I started picking at it, and then eventually I started
curiosity. And the thing is, I think that's why I'm so passionate about it as well, is that I know a lot of parents will say, no, my child won't eat that. Yeah. When my child wouldn't eat it, but I still just kept trying.
Yeah. So like, I think as long as I've got that safe option as well.
Exactly. I have the opposite. I cannot put anything in front of Tommy.
Will he get upset just from the look of it? Yeah.
He will go into a full-blown meltdown.
You don't think he does?
I don't think so. So Tommy, he's always been difficult. He's never had an interest in food. Like he was lazy to breastfeed. He was lazy to bottle feed. I combi fed him. He had severe tongue tie that was dealt with before he was 2 months old. Got to the weaning stage, and my mum was like, don't give him the chocolate pudding and those sort of things first, because all kids take to the sweet. We all do. It's just
they like the sweets.
He wouldn't take to anything. He would vomit everything up. You would have to. It got to the point I couldn't wean him because I was having to pin him down.
Did he have acid?
No,
like an acid thing.
No, Remy had acid
like from the mush.
No, he'd literally anything went on his tongue, he'd wreck.
did you do baby led or did you do like puree?
Baby-led weaning. So
Oh,
in the end, what I did was I thought, right, sod it, just get something done. And he's not a sweet person. He doesn't eat sweets. He's never eaten sweet. I don't know what is wrong with him in that sense, because I would imagine he would, but you can't. He's not into sugar and stuff
the
like that.
flavors are too intense for him.
You say that, but he'll eat chicken curry, chili con carne. They're his safe foods, and
He's
in
got
the
good
end,
but
but in the end, he started to wean probably about 14 months old, and it was a nightmare. But how I've always done it, obviously within reason, I wouldn't let him have chilies. Like, there's certain foods that I eat that I'll make sure I keep a separate plate by that I have, so that if he wants it, it just hasn't got the chilies in it and things like that. And I was always a big thing that whatever we eat, he used to eat within reason, obviously make sure it's safe for him to eat and then not too spicy and things like that. He never showed an interest. And now he knows he can try any of our food, absolutely anything he wants, again, within reason, as long as it's not going to harm him. He will not have it. If you put that, so we were under a dietitian, I refused to go back because of the advice we were given was to send him to bed hungry. He'd wake up and this was meant to be a specialist ASD dietitian at the hospital. And she said, he'll only do it a few times before he eats. And I said to her, I flipped my lid and I said, do you have any dietary restrictions? And she said, I'm vegan. I said, okay, I'm going to give you bacon and eggs for breakfast, sausage and egg McMuffin for lunch, and chili con carne beef, full beef, for dinner. Well, no, I'm vegan, so that's different. I said, no, it's a lifestyle choice. Actually, it is a lifestyle choice because it's not just about what you eat, it's about the products you have.
That's really dangerous advice to give to someone.
But
and I said, oh, I'm not going to let him go to bed hungry.
Never put on an adult.
It's just
like you're saying, just like you would never say to an adult, no. Oh, I'm vegetarian, tough tits. I've given you this food, you need to eat.
I said to her, are you gonna not eat then? Are you telling me? I said, because the thing is, unlike Tommy, who has sensory issues and he's really, really restricted with his food to the point he will starve himself to death. He won't just eat if his safe foods aren't there.
Oh.
You have that choice. Yes, it goes against everything,
really concerning,
all your principles and all of that. But you could eat meat if your life depended on it. Yeah. No, I wouldn't. I said, it's okay. So if I do that Monday to Friday, will you eat meat? She went, well, no. I said, so why tell an autistic child, well, they've just got to go to bed hungry and they'll eat? I said, it doesn't work. But with Tommy, if I put food, because we were told to do the whole safe foods on their normal plate and have a little bit of non-safe foods on a separate plate away. If it is on his table in his vicinity, he has such a horrific meltdown to the point he will self-harm. And even if I said to him, it doesn't matter, it's fine, you don't have to eat it. Even if I take it away, he will then not eat his safe foods.
It's almost that's a good example, though, of what I mean. So fair enough if he doesn't have a diagnosis of ARFID, that is still an extreme case.
I would question if he had. I mean, I don't know as much about it, obviously.
When I think about ARFID, and Tommy's very situational as well. So, like, for example, he will eat shepherd's pie at school. It's the only place he'll eat it.
Funny, isn't it? Brody eats different things at school, and I don't know if it's a level of masking.
I think it's how they prepare it as well. I don't think people realise the depth of how deep it is when it comes to. So, for example, Chase loves chicken breast. He doesn't like chicken leg. Yeah. He loves bacon, but will not touch the fat. It's texture. Yeah. Some people often think it's the flavour or the taste. This boy will completely destroy a jerk chicken as long as it ain't got the slimy bits. Like, for him, it's texture and it makes him gag. Yeah. So, like, when I was saying before about I expect certain things within reason and I take my kids' needs into account. So, for example, I know that they can eat a balanced diet as long as I prepare it in a way that's comfortable for them. Yeah. I wouldn't force my child to eat something that is going to distress them, but I do expect them to have a balanced diet in the things that they can eat. So he really likes salmon. because the texture of the salmon and the taste of it and so on, that's a healthy option. He really likes chicken breast. He can eat certain vegetables. He loves carrots if they're raw, but he won't eat them if they're cooked. So when I'm preparing his food, I will do it in a way that it has his safe food, but he has got a well-rounded selection of food based on his needs. And again, the same with Remy. But if Tommy was my child, it would be a whole different approach. I don't agree with forcing children to eat to the point where you're causing them distress. Or if you have a child who has a severe eating disability, I don't agree with that. But I do believe that if your child is able, I don't think that parents are doing their kids any favors by just saying, oh, well, you prefer to have the bad option.
But even with how restricted Tommy is, so if Tommy ever wants to try anything, me and Dave, anyone in our family, there is no, oh, but you might not like it. We will.
No.
The minute he said, unless it is literally like chilies and something he can, or like popcorn. He wanted to try popcorn the other week, and I was like, no, because I've got this big thing, like he's going to choke. No, but unless it's something that would be dangerous or harmful to him, we're like, go on. And bless him, I don't know what it is with him, but he'll be like, oh, that's really nice. I really love that. So I'm like, that's really good. And I praise him, but you don't want to go overboard, because I know by his face he's hating it. And he goes, oh, I think I'd really like some, mummy. So we do him some up.
That's so good.
And then he'll eat it and he'll have like, I call it mouse nibbles because it is, bless him. And he goes, I think I'm full up now.
But do you know
and
how
he's like,
brave
is that
it
okay?
is?
And I'm like, yeah, no, that's fine. But what we've learned to do, because then if I say to him, that's all right, you've done really well, I tell you what, you go and eat your dinner now. If I do that, he'll go completely the other way. So we have to pretend that he's done a really good job and he's eaten the whole portion we've given him of whatever we have, and then he has to let his food go down, and then he'll go back to his safe food. And next time, like once he's finished, he'll go, I really what does he say? He goes, mummy, I really like you letting me try food, and it was really yummy, but I think it's not my favorite, so next time please can I not have it? And I'm like, of course. But and then next time he'll ask to try it again. And I know he's not going to like it, but still straight away I'm like, of course. And I've always adopted that, because personally for us with Tommy, it doesn't work to have other foods around him or on his table. Like sometimes we'll all eat together. He's got his own little table sometimes he'll eat at. But to have anything that's kind of assigned to him as such, that's additional food for you. Yeah, it doesn't work for him. But for him to have, it's almost like it's got to be his idea. And it's what the school have noticed with a lot of things with Tommy as well, and the OT are noticing. If it's Tommy's idea, or if Tommy's struggling with something and you say to him, I can help you, and then you show him or tell him how he can do it, even if you do it in kind of the least amount of way so it's mainly him doing it all, he sees that as a bad thing and he internalizes it, that he's not good enough. So it has to be his idea. So with food, he's kind of got that. And at school, he will eat, like he eats, what does he eat? Shepherd's pie. He eats sausages he'll pull the skin off. He hates the skin. And he'll eat baked beans and fish fingers. Again, he'd like deep bread the fish fingers. He won't eat those at home, and I know it's cooked differently as well, but if we have scrambled egg at home, he'll eat that at home. But if I cook it around my nan's, and we've done it where I've even taken my own saucepans, my own butter, my own, and I've shown him, we've got it out of the fridge together, he won't eat it at my nan's. It's very situational, and I think, but that is gentle parenting, what we're doing.
So I want to say firstly, he just sounds so adorable. But also, what you're doing effectively is you're meeting him middle. Do you know what I mean? You're meeting him where he's comfortable, and then you're finding a way that works for him, because I think it's important to remember that all kids are individual, but also just to the point of, like I was saying before, it's important to take each child as an individual. My issue is when parents aren't trying, and I feel like that is doing a disservice to the child if that child is able. And I feel like way so strongly because obviously I've seen my child's development go, and I know how much it's done for him, and I know that there are a lot of children out there and their parents just find it easier to just give them, you know, just
It places a limit on them,
and not,
doesn't it?
yeah, because how are they going to know if you're not going to try? So say it again, babe.
It's about assuming competence.
Yeah.
I always assume that the child, like that the person,
Yeah, like, oh no, they don't try,
Very
they don't
keen
want
to
it, or they're not going to try that, and not even giving them the opportunity. You're just kind of limiting them, and I think that that's quite damaging because these lead to problems later. It leads to things with health and so on, and not just that, but like I said, like with my kids, it's not been easy.
No.
But when they have tried something and they're like, oh my God, like we had tacos at the weekend and they've never had them before. There was guacamole, sour cream, salsa. I put
Rosie
chicken
loves
in
to
the
hate
middle,
this.
and the kids absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Had I been say, oh no, my kids would never
Yeah.
try. How the hell would you know unless you try? It's like limiting them before they've had the opportunity to even try something.
And they
which I
get that sense of pride, don't they? That they've managed it, that they've done it. And it builds their self-confidence because, and that's the thing I find with Tommy, and it's the thing that it very much reminds me of Brody as well, especially in the school setting, when they're kind of put into a box, or it's they're not doing this, or they're not doing it right, they internalize that. And our children are far more clever than the majority of people give them credit for, just because they may not verbalize it, or they may not, there isn't a look to, there is no clever look as such, but because of their actions, their stims, their vocalizations, the way that they do things or how they behave doesn't appear to be necessarily as clever as their peers. And I hate that kind of analogy, but you can, I've always said, to me, you can tell Tommy's autistic. Like if it's not through him stimming, it's how he sounds. There's little things, and it's that automatic. They're autistic, they can't do this. Well, no, there is nothing our children can't do if they're given the right support and if things are broken down enough. And it's something Kelly said actually a couple of episodes ago. She said about, obviously there are some things on hers and Oscar's list that Oscar may never achieve, is unlikely to achieve. But if you break that down bit by bit into little bits, there will be something that Oscar will be able to achieve on that. And I think that's the thing, is taking each child as an individual and celebrating and looking for the positives, because it's so easy to get drawn into what your children can't do. And again, with like the gentle parenting, because my understanding is it's how we've always parented Tommy. You have to know right from wrong. It's a lot harder with our children, but it's like if Tommy's really, because he started to hit what I'd call the terrible twos, the threes at the moment. But if he's stamping and he's angry, he has a right to be angry. He has a right to be frustrated. He can stamp as much as he wants, but what he can't do is take that out on other people. So if he's angry and he stomps up to our bedroom and he's like, I'm really angry, and he's sitting on the bed and huffing and puffing, I'll give him a couple of minutes as long as he's safe, and I'll go up and I'll say to him, I can see you're really frustrated. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah.
And sometimes that will go down well, or sometimes he can,
I get told,
I hate you, mummy, go away, I don't want you as mum. And I'll say to him, I can see you're angry and frustrated, and it's okay to be angry. Mummy gets angry. I'm not talking to you while you're like this, and that upsets mummy. I'm going to go back downstairs and I will be back up in 5 minutes. And it's setting boundaries, but it's acknowledging how they feel and recognizing it, and that they're allowed to have their feelings. Because a lot of parents also, it's very much, I find a lot of parents like either you have no reason to be upset, or do as I say, the whole do as I say, or because I said so. And it's all children struggle with that, but especially our children. You know, how can you say to a child, well, do as I say, you know, or I said so? Our children need to know why. And if they start suppressing those emotions now, is not going to be healthy when they're older. And it's not something I'm proud of. And it's something obviously we weren't aware of when I was a child. But I was the teenager that would stump up and down the stairs, rip doors off, rip door handles off. I never raised my hand to anybody, but I was the teenager that would rip everything out my wardrobe and punch walls and destroy everything because I didn't know what was going on. There was lots of different things. Obviously, I was undiagnosed with the ASD. I've had trauma from childhood issues, and my mum and my stepdad would always do everything they could, but I would go from 0 to 100 really quickly. And when I'm in that rage, I couldn't be helped. And I think had my mum known, she would have been able to do more. Whereas it was just, well, she's having a strop, you take her stuff away, or you do this, or
that's how they would talk to parents.
It's very different time.
We're brought up by the generation that were traumatized from all these world wars. PTSD coming down, and it's you've got nothing to fucking moan about. Why are you whinging? My house was blown up. Do you know what I mean? That gets passed down. And when I look back at how, like, my mum was quite progressive, to be honest. Like, she did a lot of things that now gets really praised up. And my mum's always like, what? I just fucking did it naturally. But my mum's background wasn't like that. So I think she was very, very much like, I want to change that, and I don't want my kids to go through what I went through. But like, there were little things, like if you ever were pissed off or cried, it'd be like, why are you crying? Stop crying. Whereas now,
I'll give you something to cry about.
And that's what gentle parenting is. Like, you don't say, oh, what are you doing? What are you crying for?
Validate your child's feelings.
Validate your child's feelings. That's gentle parenting. What you're talking about when you were like, oh no, gentle parenting, rare. That is pessimistic parenting.
When you said gentle parenting, I was like, oh, hell no. Like, I'm so against.
You actually are.
Mollycoddling kids, I don't think it's healthy.
No, and I think also there's a lot of,
as long as it doesn't involve any other stuff.
Pessimistic parent, that's the difference.
No.
The pessimistic parent is when it's, oh, little darling Rupert.
Oh no,
like that. No,
I was going to say,
burn the house down. But you know what he does, though, which makes me fucking die. No, but you know what Barry does? Which makes me fucking die. He has the audacity, right? The audacity to make a mess, right? Destroy my front room. And when I come down, I'm like, he's like, yeah, mummy, do a big deep breath. I'm like,
oh yeah. Remy has us doing yoga.
No, honestly, and I'm like, this kid. Get him. I have to laugh. It actually makes me laugh.
My darling.
No, but he's like
Bluey's voice, darling.
I know. Yeah. Oh, I love it because he talks like Bingo. Like, she's like, you're right, love.
Yeah.
Like Bingo. But he'll go, yeah, mummy, deep breath. Or like the other day he was doing something, it was really winding me up, and I was just like, and he was like, mummy, do you need to take a deep breath? I'm like, yeah, mate, I do. Because and it is hard because he's so sensory seeking and I'm very sensory avoidant, so that's tough. Like,
you find you set Brody off and Brody sets you off? Because I find that with Tommy, like, I set him, obviously it's not intentional, and especially it's not intentional with him because they don't understand, but I will find he triggers me and then I trigger him, and there are points that I have to just walk away.
I don't know if I trigger Brody. I think I do, but I don't know how.
See, I trigger Tommy because, breathing. I breathe.
You exist.
I just have to breathe, basically, to trigger Tommy. Or he'll be like, why are you looking at me? And I'm like, I'm not. I'm not. If he's over here, I'm looking straight ahead. And he's like, don't look at me. And I'm like, okay. And I'll leave it at that. And he'll go to me, mummy, why? Oh, I'm so frustrated.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what have I done? And
he's so annoying. I'm like, what have
I done? And he went, you're just here. You're just being.
That's jokes.
I'm just
that is so funny.